How to add a mask to a pattern in Affinity Photo. There's two ways of doing it. Now I'm just going to go with an ellipse. It could be anything. It could be type, it could be images, it could be any other shape, it could be brush strokes, anything. But I'm just going to go with this, just for example. So you've got your ellipse here. I can now add a mask to that. Just go down here and you've got this option here. If you're using version 1, you'll only see mask. But I'm just going to go with the mask, but there's all these others as well, but just go with mask. And you can see now you've got a mask added there. And now, with the mask selected, that's the key thing, go to the gradient tool or use brushes, etc. You can apply, and there, you can apply it that way, this way, you can add a mask. So you can see less or more of your design. What you can then do is, with this ellipse, you can go to Layer, and you can go down here to rasterize. It needs to be turned into a pixel layer, the whole thing. Now that does mean that the mask is obviously still applied, but you can't manipulate it. Well, you can obviously go and add another mask, but the mask you had before you can't manipulate. So again, select that. As it's a pixel layer, you can go to Layer and a new pattern layer from selection. And you can then generate this. And that's a pattern layer. You can delete the previous one, let's just delete that. And you can also hold down the Alt Option key on the keyboard and duplicate and drag and duplicate. And you can see you can build up designs like that with both those patterns. You can select both and you can manipulate those as well. But you can also do this. Again, I'm going to use ellipse. You could use any of these other ones. You could use images. Doesn't have to be the ellipse, but for example, and it could be any color. It could be filled with a gradient. Got this ellipse. This time, just go to Layer and down to, and it needs to again to be rasterized. It needs to be turned into pixel layer. So Layer and rasterize. Again, you can see it's turned in. It's no longer ellipse or whatever shape it was. Then you go to Layer and new pattern layer from selection with the one selected, and you can resize this. Now I'm just going to delete the other layer, and I've got this pattern. Well, I can add a mask to this. Now, if you're using version 2, you've got a few options here, but I've got mask here. But if you're using version 1, you'll see just mask. So mask, use that, and the mask is added. And you can expand it out. Make certain you select the mask. Quite easy to select the pattern by accident. I've done that quite a few times. Ends up completely different. So again, gradient tool, it could be brushes, it could be anything else, and apply. And you can see what happens. You end up with this mask, apply, so you can't see that, you can see that. Again, make certain you go to the pattern, and then you can manipulate this pattern. So again, use the move tool, and you can then move it around, but you'll see what's happened. The mask is only to the actual edges of this document, you can see. So you can move it around, and you can move it up there, and again, you've got doesn't look like you've got a mask at all, because it's off there. Also, if you resize it, you can see what happens. You end up with this. It's not ideal. It doesn't scale with the actual. It would be nice if it was. You could link it somehow. Maybe there's a way of doing it. I don't know. But what you can do, you can still simply just go over here, the gradient tool, and apply. You notice what I've just done? I've applied the pattern. Quite easily done. You can always go then, make certain you select the mask, otherwise you get that result, and then you can see the result there again. And then you can, of course, go to the pattern, and you can resize that, make it even smaller, you can see exact same issue. You always have to end up reapplying that mask if you want it to be exactly in the way that, possible you don't mind that edge. It's perfectly reasonable, but I prefer not to be there. Also, of course, you can rasterize that and you can add masks again. So there's loads of things you can do. So Layer and rasterize, and then you can add a mask to this as well if you want. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Always great to hear from you. Bye.